let's just call it what it is. Silver is a very, very, very important strategic and monetary asset. And I think this is why the BRICS countries have been buying, amongst other things, silver. Everyone talks about the BRICS buying gold. India has imported, what, 300 million ounces this year. That's roughly a third of global mine supply. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why there is so much more silver physical demand, and that's been manifested by the vault drawdowns. We've talked about this, and the exchange for physical behavior, where in order to keep COMEX stocked with what little supply they have, the 6 million ounces, 1/10 as much as India imported this year, they've done the exchange for physical, where they take those COMEX contracts and exchange them for physical off the London Metals Exchange, which is seeing their silver drop down to the lowest levels since they started keeping record. But look, silver is being bought by the big countries and by the big money, and it will continue. They will continue to do so until there is none left in the weak hands. They are using the price suppression on COMEX to gobble up all of the physical. And as my good buddy Vic Swear often says, with the click of a mouse, they can drop silver to $4 or to $400 in a heartbeat. And when all of the silver is gobbled up, you'll see it go from wherever it is, bang, straight up to maybe something like 400. And that's, people talk about that being some sort of crazy projection. Let me just take my calculator here. A lot of projections are talking about gold going as high as 3,000, 3,500 here in 2023. Mainstream banks are talking about this. Put it at 3,000 and divide by 42, which is the average of the past 200 years. That's $71.50. Take 3,000 and divide it by 7, what it's coming out of the ground at, and you got $428. So is it crazy to think silver could go to 400 like that? No, it's not. And in particular, when you realize that the biggest money in the world is suppressing the price to accumulate it. See, people focus too much on the suppression and don't ask why. That's the most important thing. Why is it being suppressed? Who's using that tool to their advantage? And I do believe that you will know when strong hands have all they need, and that's when the price goes to the moon. And so people talk about, well, I can still get product. Great. Yeah, the product's gotten a little bit more available now. This is what we've been talking about, really, you and I, since 2020. But when you see the biggest exchanges on the planet being drawn down to levels that no one's ever seen before, in a massive shift, all of it going eastward, you need to open up your eyes and realize that this is a global transition. This is a once-in-a-generation transition. And the fools in the West are relinquishing custody to the smart people in the East, who will use this as a foundation, not only monetarily, but also industrially, for the new BRICS system that will be backed by a basket of commodities. It won't just be gold. It won't just be silver. Maybe it's wheat. Maybe it's oil. Maybe it's sugar. As we've been told, I truly do believe that this is why you are seeing all of these countries accumulate tremendous amounts of metal, the most since 1967, and only people are talking about gold. Let's not forget that we're seeing huge silver drawdowns as well. And as the silver draws down on the exchanges, it's going up commensurate in countries like India. So what does that mean? That means that the demand for silver and gold at some point will catch people's attention, and maybe that's in coordination with the market collapse. And when that happens, it ain't going to matter what you have stamped on the coin, whether it's an eagle or a maple or whatnot. Now, to be fair, we've talked about this before, what Jim Sinclair had talked about. Jim Sinclair had talked about his belief that at some point metals would be confiscated, and anything with an American stamp on it would be safe from a future confiscation. That's hyperbole, that's opinion. Hasn't swayed me enough to sell my items that aren't American made, certainly. But look, those are the kinds of reasons that have allowed even anyone to be buying silver eagles at these stupid prices, because there are people who believe that it is the only road to safety. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that even in the slightest, but what I am saying is that there are people paying these premiums, and I'll say, hey, you should buy something else. No, I want the eagles. So in the end, when silver's $400 and you can't find it, will that eagle stamp be worth something? Don't know. But it's not compelling enough for me to recommend it to my best clients or to accumulate it myself. Now, I always did buy Eagles. It comprised most of what I own, but I've been buying them for 30 plus years. And it's not been but just the last 3 years where we've seen distortions in everything in this world, in financial assets, and in particular US mint products. So to the gentleman's question, fair point, fair question. The what if questions are the hardest to answer, but I would simply say that in my opinion, the increase in premium over something like a Maple Leaf or a Krugerrand or a Silver Bar right now, I don't know that the benefits are commensurate with a huge cost increase. Maybe they are in the end, but I have a hard time swallowing it right now.